Nancy Pelosi just got called out by Jake Tapper on CNN, of all places, for being a corrupt inside trader. It gets very awkward. Take a look.
Why do you have to read that? We're here to talk about the 60th anniversary of Medicaid. That's what I agreed to come to talk about.
But I
and
wanted
what that means in the election.
I wanted to give you a chance just to respond. He accused you of insider trading. What's your response to that?
That's ridiculous. In fact, I very much support the stop the trading of members of Congress. Not that I think anybody's doing anything wrong. If they are prosecuted and they go to jail. But because of the confidence it instills in the American people, don't worry about this. But I have no concern about the obvious investments that had been made over time. I'm not into it. My husband is, but it isn't anything to do with anything insider.
Don't talk about that. Don't. Why are we bringing that up? You're supposed to be on my side. That's what she says. Also, insider trading is kind of good. Those are her words, not mine. That's literally what she says in that video. So I want to show you the timeline of Nancy Pelosi's wealth because it is shocking. I think a lot of people have forgotten it. And then we're going to get into the new bill that is being proposed right now in Congress to ban Congress members from trading stocks. So starting all the way back in 1987, when Nancy Pelosi got into politics, she was approximately worth $3 million. So not bad. She was obviously doing well before Congress, most of that because of her husband. In the 2000s, by 2004, she was estimated at $40 million, more than 10x her wealth. Around 2008, that went up to $58 million, according to Open Secrets, as well as some other trackers. In 2010, by 2014 rather, her estimated net worth was more than $101 million. In 2018, it was more like $115 million. And then it just exploded. I mean, already it's exploding, but it continues to explode from there. By 2021, the estimates ranged from $120 to $171 million. And today, this is according to Quiver Quantitative, which tracks daily stock movement, they estimated her net worth at around $246 million in April. Also, the same people came out with a new estimate in June for $260 million. So somewhere between $240 and $260 million. That is an insane amount of wealth, especially to accumulate as a public servant, which she apparently is. So obviously it's a problem. And that's why Senator Josh Hawley from Missouri had introduced a bill that would ban stock trading for Congress members and Senate, obviously. And then it would also kick in for president and vice president next election, so in 2028. This is Trump's reaction. So Trump heard this. He's very excited about it. This is Trump's reaction to that bill.
Nancy Pelosi became rich by having inside information. She made a fortune with her husband, and I think that's disgraceful. So in that sense, I'd like it, but I'd have to really see I study these things very carefully, and this just happened. So I'll take a look at it. But conceptually, I like it. And what I do think is Nancy Pelosi should be investigated because she has the highest return of anybody practically in the history of Wall Street, save a few. How did that happen? It happened by she knows exactly what's going to happen, what's going to be announced. She buys stock, and then the stock goes up after the announcement's made.
So Donald Trump's all for it. I think the Republicans have done a really good job of seizing on this issue and making it a Republican issue, even though it doesn't really need to be. But for some reason, you've got like Nancy Pelosi going out there and saying that she kind of likes the insider trading. Critics of the bill have brought up two decent points that I think should be addressed. I think they're legitimate critiques of it. The first is that you can potentially price out normal Americans from running for Congress. And so what you get is people who are just already rich. And that already happens for the most part in Congress. But for example, what you could have is if I were to run for president in 2026, it's the first time that I can run, by the way. And I'm never going to do it. So please don't think I am. But if I were to, I would not be able to do it financially if I couldn't trade stocks. Because I need to save for retirement. I'm just a normal American. I'm not already rich like Nancy Pelosi was. So because of that, me or you could not run for Congress because I need to keep investing in my stock portfolio in order to save for retirement. That's one criticism, and I think that's legit. The second criticism of the bill is that it doesn't do enough to address the loopholes, and this is incredibly legit as well. One loophole that a lot of people are concerned about is that just because Nancy Pelosi herself and her husband as well, this would include the spouses of Congress members. But just because Nancy Pelosi and her husband wouldn't be able to trade stocks doesn't necessarily mean that her trust or some sort of business or foundation couldn't trade stocks. So essentially, she could get around it by just creating another entity that isn't taxed through her, like a trust, and voila, she can trade again. So I think both of those are incredibly legitimate critiques. I think a good amendment that would help with both of those is that we could set a certain list of mutual funds and index funds that are specifically available, not only to, but these would be the only ones that Congress members would be able to trade in. The S&P 500, for example, they're just the top 500 companies in terms of market cap in the United States. I don't really see a big harm in that. I think that would allow normal people to save for retirement if there were normal people serving in Congress. I think with that as well, the other thing that you could do is you could make all those index or mutual funds, those trades public immediately. It wouldn't be like public a year later like we have it right now for the most part. It would be like in real time, you can see what your Congress member is doing. I think that would make things much more transparent. And then technically, anyone could just follow exactly what Nancy Pelosi does in real time and make as much money as her. And that would work a lot better in theory. That's kind of the libertarian position on it. I think there's a lot of wisdom in that. Let me know in the comments down below what you think the best solution is. You do not have time to babysit contractors. My partner, Gray Ledger, vets the vendors, reviews the contracts, and manages performance so that you don't get burned by half-finished work or missed deadlines. When the job matters, Gray Ledger makes sure it gets done right. Right now, visit grayledger.carrd.co, or you can head to the link in the description below. Thank you so much for watching, everybody. Please like this video so other great patriots like yourselves will see it, and you can tune in every single weekday at 6 p.m. Eastern for the live show, or you can watch another video right here.